Hello, gardeners. My name is Barbara Harrison. I am a Buncombe County Master Gardener. I have been gardening and helping people start new gardens for 5 years. I'm excited today to share with you the process of starting a vegetable garden. Even in these difficult times, you can still grow food. This presentation will be in 3 parts, approximately 6 to 8 minutes each. And what we're going to be talking about in this section is garden site selection. So in selecting a site, keep the following in mind: sun, good airflow, soil, and water. Everything a vegetable needs to grow. For our fruit-bearing vegetables, such as tomatoes, eggplant, peppers, these vegetables need at least 8 hours of sunlight per day. More is better. For root vegetables such as radishes and carrots or our leafy greens, you can get by with 6 hours of sun exposure. So the first thing to do is watch the sun as it moves across your property. The sun, as you know, moves east to west, and its angle is going to change as the season progresses. Look at the sun at various times during the day. Where do I have a sunny spot? Is there a 40 to 50 foot tree nearby? That tree may not have many leaves now, but in summer, that tree could cause some shade. But it's important to watch the sun to see if, because that shade, you might be able to get by with it. Your house will also create shadows on your property as the sun moves. I live on a piece of property that is about 3 acres that has been cleared, but I am surrounded by a tree line on hills. The sun doesn't reach my garden until 10 o'clock in the morning, but as the sun sets, my garden is in full sun until early evening. So it works for me. I get that 8 hours of sunlight that's needed. So watch the sun move on your property, and that will help you find a good spot. The next thing to consider is how the air moves on your property. You don't want to put a garden at the bottom of a hill or in any low spot in your yard. Those low spots can create cold pockets. And when you put in plants, you want to make sure that there is enough space between each plant to grow to create good airflow, because this can really help in the prevention of disease. Soil is another factor to consider, and how the soil drains water is very important. So study your land after a large rainfall and look and see where rain is puddling. Such as we see here in this picture, this would not be a good choice for a garden to be placed here because the soil is not draining properly. Look on your property, and where you see a lot of grass and a lot of weeds growing, that will probably be a good garden site. So in establishing that garden site, you will need to dig up that grass, and you'll take that grass sod and shake it to get off all of the topsoil that's adhering to it, because you don't want to throw that topsoil away. It's very, very valuable. Newspaper and cardboard is very effective at getting rid of grass, but that usually takes over a month. So you can use this around that area where you're going to put your garden to kill the grass. And newspaper, you can just wet it down to keep it in place. And with cardboard, you can use bricks, stones, mulch, or even firewood to hold it down. And then once the grass has died underneath the cardboard, you can remove it. At this point, we would always recommend that you do a soil test on the soil that you're going to use for your garden, but that is not possible at this time. It also would be helpful if you could amend that soil with any kind of amendments that you might have. If you are making homemade compost, that would be wonderful to add. Mushroom compost is also good. Manure can be added. Nature's Helper is a great soil conditioner, or even mulched leaves. You can add and mix that in with the soil. Or you can go have soil delivered from your local mulch supplier. But if you can't add any amendments to the soil, don't let this stop you from putting in a garden. Vegetables need 1 inch of water per week. This is pretty much the rule of thumb. And if you can measure this with the rain gauge, or you can use a small can like a tuna can to just put out in your garden to see how much rainfall you get per week, or just do the finger test. Put your finger in the soil, and if it is dry, you should water. To make life easier on yourself, it would be nice to locate the garden near a water source, because carrying buckets of water or dragging a hose to water the garden, this is a lot of work. However, don't let this deter you. If you can't get your garden near a water source, then you can still have a garden and you will just need to use a long hose. And this is what I do. I have a very long hose that I use to water my garden, and it works just fine. When you water the plants, make sure you water the soil, not the plant. Keep the water off of the foliage. If you're using a watering system, it's best to go with a drip irrigation system, not a sprinkler system, and water early in the day to prevent, and all of this will help in the prevention of diseases. After the plants are in the garden, it is a good idea to add mulch around the plants to help conserve moisture. Shredded leaves are great for this. I cannot emphasize the value of leaves. They are a natural resource for us, and they can be stockpiled from fall to summer. And it leaves, in addition to moisture retention, will also add nutrients to the soil. You can also use newspaper around the plants. You can use straw. You can use cardboard. All of these will conserve the moisture and also help in the weeding process. So in summary, in choosing your garden site, think about sun exposure, airflow, soil, and water. In the next session, we will talk about different types of gardens. And if you have any questions as you begin to choose your garden site, feel free to call our garden helpline. The number is on your screen. You can email questions and photos to the email address listed here, and the garden helpline hours are also listed. Thank you very much, and I look forward to doing part 2 with you, types of gardens.